Now that you've seen some examples on how to subtract with dots and boxes, I wanted to give you something in action as well. Let's take a look at an example in base 4, which is our 4-to-1 machine. Now remember, our digits in base 4, there's 4 digits. Our digits are 0, 1, 2, and 3. We don't ever have a 4 or larger because it always regroups. So if you're to subtract with dots and boxes in base 4, you don't need to move the number to base 10. You can work right in base 4, not necessarily caring about the value of the numbers, just kind of working with the technique. So with subtraction, one of the differences, of course, from subtraction to addition is that we can only subtract numbers that are smaller than the number we're taking it away from. So let's take a look at an example. 2, 1, 0, 3, base 4. Let's subtract from that 1, 1, 2, 2, base 4. You're going to notice some differences when I do this over what we saw in addition. And it's that you may remember when you work with subtraction in elementary school, at times subtraction seems fairly straightforward. You're just taking away a number from another number, but at times you have to borrow, right? You have to borrow or regroup group back to actually be able to take it away. So I'm going to start with the first number. I'll use my black pen for that. 2, 1, 0, 3. Let me place that in the box. So I'll put 2 and 1 and 0 and finally 3. Now, the difference here, the action is that, and with addition, remember, I just plopped both numbers in the box and just saw what happened. Not so with subtraction. I'm actually going to think about this second number as something that I'm going to take away. Now, I know that seemed to be a very elementary phrase, but it's very important that students may begin with this idea of taking away. They can later think of subtraction in many other ways, but at first it's kind of convenient to think about it as taking it away. Starting with the rightmost place value, we're going to start by taking away a 2 in the ones place. Can we do that? Absolutely, we can. I'm going to highlight those 2 in the ones place, right? We're going to take those away. How do you do that? Well, if you have blocks or something, you can physically have students in the classroom. I'm talking elementary, like you can have them moving things out in base 10. Here in this class, I'm just going to take them away by sort of scribbling them out, which kind of makes a mess. I'm going to scribble in red. So we'll just think that those are gone. I took those away. And then I'm going to go to the next number. I'm going to highlight the next number on this problem. I'm going to take away a 2 in the second place value. Okay, so I'm going to take away a 2 there. But when I look in this second box over here, there's nothing to take away. There's nothing there at all. I can't take away 2 because there's nothing there to take away. So that means I have to borrow, and I have to borrow from a place value that's bigger. Okay, so I'm going to have to borrow from over here. Now, how do I borrow? We're going to borrow similar to how we did it in elementary school. We're going to break that down one place value. Now, the difference, of course, between this and elementary is pretty vast. This is a whole different numbering system. So remember that in base 4, right, we're using this idea that each four group of 4 move to 1 to the left. So when I borrow or ungroup this, it's kind of like an unexploded. It doesn't go back and make 10 dots. It makes 4 dots. Now, the interesting thing, though, and you're going to see this in a later video in this module, is that even though it is this many dots, which we call 4, it actually is the number 10 in base 4. So that'll be interesting later on. But for now, we're just going to illustrate it with the dots. So I'm going to not take that dot away, but regroup or ungroup, however you want to say it, unexplode, and it's going to make 4 dots in the second place value. Now I can actually do the action I want. Remember, the action I want is to take away 2 dots in this place value, and now I have the 2 dots to take away. I'm going to take them away by scribbling them out. All right, I can do that. All right, now I go to the next place value. The next place value is I need to take away a 1. Well, when I look into this place, I had a dot there, but now I no longer have a dot because I ungrouped it. So there's actually nothing there at this moment to take away. So again, I have to do the borrowing. Okay, remember, you're always borrowing just 1. So I'm going to look in the fourth place value. I'm going to borrow 1 there. I'm going to regroup it over here, again, making 4 dots. But now I can do the action that I want. The action that I want, you see me highlighting it. I wanted to take away 1. So this time I'm just going to circle 1 dot. And I'm going to take that away and scribble that out. Okay, leaving this with 3. And then lastly, I go to the last place value, and I see that my instructions are to take away 1 from there, which I can actually do because there's 1 there to take away, right? There's 1 dot left there, and I take it away by scribbling it out. Then you carefully just see what you have left. Well, in this very first place value, there's nothing left. All the dots are gone. in the next place value, there's 3 dots there. So you have to be very careful keeping track, and then 2, and then 1. And that means my final answer is 3, 2, 1, base 4. We were able to do that without ever going to base 10. You would use a similar process and just change the base. You would do the same process actually. And if the base were different, you would just, when you unexplode or borrow, you just have a different group. Like if this was base instead of base 4, let's say that was a 7, base 7. When you move dots back, you would be moving a group of 7.